everyone. Cut my music. And welcome to Talking Points Ask Me Anything. I am so happy you are here. It is Thursday, which means we are live. My name is Paige. I am with Talking Points every Thursday on Facebook and YouTube, talking about your Talking Points account, talking about family engagement and anything in between where you have questions. We'll talk a little bit about a topic regarding family engagement, regarding talking points, and then we'll slide right into the FAQs. So if you have anything you want to talk about, any questions that you are dying to ask that you need answered, throw those into the chat and we will answer those in just a few minutes. So this week, I am so pleased to be here with you. We are going to be talking about teacher capacity. And your teachers, you can figure something out. But if you've never heard that phrased like that before, what I mean when I say teacher capacity is teachers' ability to get their job done, teachers' ability to do all of the millions of things that you are supposed to do between the hours of, is it 7 to 3 and then beyond, and get those things done effectively and also engage families and get those things done well. So your capacity to do your job, and how Talking Points makes those things easier so that makes family engagement easier so that you can get those other things done. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to talk about those things a little bit before we get into our FAQ today. We're just going to jump right into teacher capacity. I'm going to hide this. And here we go. Remember, you can throw questions into the comments at any point. And if I don't get to them immediately, I will when we do FAQs. So when we talk about teacher capacity, we want to think about not just are teachers getting their jobs done, but how do they feel about their jobs? Are teachers satisfied? Do they feel like they have the resources to do their jobs? Do they feel that they are able to build relationships with not only their students, but with their students' families and their parents? And while I was doing research for this Ask Me Anything Live, I found on Pew Research Center, which is a site where you can find a lot of the research that we look into. On Pew Research, they were sharing a lot of information about teachers' job satisfaction. And I know that's actually top of mind on a lot of people's minds, and we see it on the news a lot. And so I circled a couple of pieces of information from this data. Was that only 45% of teachers, when they did this study, felt that they were highly satisfied with the relationships with their students' parents, and only 36% felt that they had access to the resources they needed to do their jobs. And when we look at both of those numbers, those are both related to family engagement. If you don't feel that you have the resources you need to do your job, especially if some of those resources could be used to engage families, then how could you build positive relationships with students' families? And when we think about how effective family engagement can be in guiding student success, then those resources can save you time, family engagement can save you time, and you can be doing a lot of the other parts of your job when you're trying to build those relationships. And as I bring up just about every time, effective family engagement is a superpower, and it's one that is underutilized in our schools and in our school districts. It is twice as likely to predict student success than family socioeconomic status. So when we do have the resources available, whatever those may be, and when we do feel like we're capable and have the capacity to build relationships with families and to utilize their knowledge and their connection with their students, with their children, our students, to guide student success, then we really can make an impact. So with the research in mind about family engagement, let's talk about how talking points can help teacher capacity. So what I did was I pulled a few teacher quotes who have used talking points about how they've seen an impact. And then after we read a few of these, I want to dive in and see if we see any sort of commonality, a common thread through what these teachers have seen. So the first one, Lindsay Allen in Illinois, she's an EL teacher. She said, talking points saved my year. She's communicated and created a classroom community, students who speak Ukrainian, Bengali, Russian, Belarusian, and more. And she said they all feel comfortable contacting her now, whereas before there were parents that were maybe too nervous to reach out. So that's incredible. First time being able to connect with every family. Jennifer Sammy from Maryland, she said she loves sharing pictures of her students working together with families. The announcement feature is quick and easy to show parents what they're working on. And she loves the app that it shows who has seen the announcement. So she knows who's getting that information and who she still needs to connect with. Alexis Nelson in Arizona, so we've got teachers doing this all over the US. I use talking points to communicate with all of my students' families. The app has made communication so much easier. Favorite feature is being able to see who is connected and the ability to schedule out announcements and messages. It allows her to plan her entire month. It's easy for parents to reply by text and for them to see how their child is doing in the classroom. Love this tool. Tiffany Brewer in Illinois. She's got a young lady in 5th grade struggling with a lot of different things. And with talking points, the child's mother and the teacher are able to communicate back and forth on a daily basis without interrupting either one's work schedule. I love to hear that. I've heard that from several teachers, actually. I had one teacher tell me about how a student's father wanted so badly to speak to the teacher and have that daily communication, but he was a truck driver. And so he's driving late into the night and couldn't be on phone calls, couldn't come to conferences. But with talking points, he's able to text and send those text messages even after hours, and they could connect not in real time necessarily, but she could send them during the day. He could receive them and respond at night. And when she turns off her office hours, it's not bothering her, it's not bothering him, and they're able to still build that relationship when it's appropriate and when it's convenient for both of them. And this is the last one I promised for today. Katrina Preston in Colorado says talking points has been the highlight of the last 4 years that she's been teaching. That's a typo right there. The last 4 years she's been teaching helps her keep families up to date, connect with parents who may otherwise not engage, and saves hours of time communicating with parents. She shared that 296 messages may be on the smaller side of so many other users that we have, but it's 296 more times that she's made contact with families, and she's connected with 190 people throughout the school year. I love that she dug into the numbers and really felt the gravity of it. Talking points has been and will always be her first line of defense for communication with families. That I could feel the impact in her statement. So the commonality I see in all of these teachers' statements is that talking points makes their job easy. It is quick to use. It makes everyone feel more comfortable in communication, whether that's because there's a language barrier that's being broken down or because it's through text message, whatever that may be, they seem to feel that comfort from the families and they feel comfortable using it. And many of them say, every year, this is my first choice that I come back to, my first line of defense in communicating with families. And to me, that says they're gaining some of their capacity back to do the rest of their job, because this part of their job, communicating with families, engaging families, is taken care of by this easy, quick, comfortable tool that they don't have to worry about anymore. And they're connecting with everyone. So that was a lot in a very short period of time, but that's what AMA is all about. And that means that we can switch into, and you're still welcome to ask questions about teacher capacity, how we talked about it just now, or in other ways. And we do have questions in the comments, so I will jump to that. Feel free to drop your own questions in the comments as well. And I have questions that our support team has sent me from our support chat as well. So we have lots to talk about today. So Ashley in the chat says, last year I turned Talking Points and sometimes had parents telling her that pictures weren't coming through. They would only get words, but no pictures. Any idea why it would happen? So that was something that was happening last school year. That's a great question, Ashley. My first question would be, has it happened this school year? Or have you tried it again this year? And if it has not happened, that might have been a bug that was happening in that period of time that we have fixed. If not, I know that it is recommended that you send fewer pictures at once rather than a whole bunch. So that would help. Regardless of whether a parent is using text message or the Talking Points for Families app, they should be able to receive your pictures, videos, and documents. So that should not be an issue. Make sure always that your app, if you're using mobile, is up to date. So every now and then, go into your app store, make sure that you aren't missing an update so that nothing funky goes on with any of the features. But yeah, the first thing I would ask is, have you tried it this year? Because that has been a while, to make sure everything's working and flowing through. Okay, school hasn't started yet, so you haven't tried it. Some would and some wouldn't. Okay, yeah, my recommendation is to, once the school year starts, make sure that your app is up to date fully. And then once it's time to send pictures, try to send one through. And if in the unlikely case that that does happen, reach out to our support team, and I will show you how to do that if that's something that is unfamiliar to you, and let them know, because it may be a case with your account and not with, because that's not something I have heard before. But if it's happening with you, then it may be happening with someone else. But when you are in your account, I'm going to share my screen. So when you're in your account on the web, mine is a demo account, so it is not showing right now, but you should have the ability. Oh, yeah, it's right here. Down at the bottom, let me hide my banner right now. Yes, at the bottom, there's this little life preserver. I don't think you can see my mouse. There it is. Under your name on the bottom left corner, it says Get Help. That's how you would start a chat with our support team. And you can send them all the information. You can send them screenshots, everything that would help them troubleshoot any kind of issue that you may be having with your account. And that should solve the problem. So another question that we've been having come through our support channel has been about class codes. So it's important to know that if you are using a Talking Points account through your school or district, so remember that there are mainly two different types of accounts. You either signed up for free and you're just an individual teacher using Talking Points for free, or your school or district has paid for everybody to have Talking Points. So if you are with a school or district, you do not have class codes, and families need to wait 2 days for info to sync after first logging into the app. So I have, let's see, teachers and school staff who are part of a school or district partnership do not have a class code. And yes, families will need to wait 2 days. If you are a teacher using the free Talking Points for Teachers app, then let me show you how to find what you need to share with families. So I'm actually going to log out here and show you my free account. Let's pull that up. Okay, so there's a few different ways that you can add families to your account or invite them when you're using the Talking Points for Teachers free account. So one is that when you go to classes, Oh, yes, I'll have to add a class first. Do I have a class in here? Okay, in my extra credit class, I'm going to add students, and there's a few different ways. I could just type in the teachers, the students and their contacts manually. I could pull them in from another class, which is what add existing students from other classes means. Or I could use class codes to invite them. And there's two different boxes here. One that says join via the family app with a class code or join via text message. They're both going to show you class codes. This is the code for my extra credit class. It is a unique code to this class that I can copy and send to anybody in that class. I could put it onto a newsletter or anything like that. And then someone joining on the app would type in that code to join my class. If they are using text message and want to join via code, I can print letters in each of the languages that we support using that code. And it gives instructions for what phone number they text to join and the code that they use. Now, the codes are completely optional. That is not how families have to join Talking Points. If you manually enter your phone numbers, your family contacts when you add your students, then they do not need to use a code. They do not need to download anything. They will already be there and be receiving your information. And that's the easiest way to get all your families connected, is for you to do kind of the heavy lifting right at the beginning, and then everyone's in, no more hassle. But if you feel like all your families can handle doing the codes and logging in, or they would like to do it themselves, then all the letters and instructions you need are right here. And I'll show you again. It's when you're in a class, click add students, and all the instructions are there for you where you need them. Perfect. And we had one more question come to us on our Facebook community. And I want to share real quick with you that we do have a Talking Points online community on Facebook that you can join, where you all can share questions with each other, can help each other, can share, like, I made this template for a message that I think everybody could use. Here it is. We really want you guys to help each other out and be a community of educators using Talking Points. But I'm also on there every day checking to see if there are questions or anything that we can help with. So we did get a question there today from Khadija. And the question is, when I'm sending announcements, I can't write more than 600 characters, but sometimes I need to send newsletters, activities to the parents, and it requires more words. What do I need to do? So our messages, our announcements are limited to a 600 character count. And we raised it from 300 characters because we do understand that a lot of these messages and announcements that you need to send do need to be a little bit longer. But we have capped it at 600 characters because there's a couple of different reasons. For one, this is a text message rather than an email. And when you think about the two different modes of communication and you think about people receiving a text message, they're not going to want to read something that's super long. They're receiving this on their phone. They're not looking for paragraph after paragraph. These are quick daily messages. So trying to condense what you have to say into 600 characters so that it is understandable and concise is the best way to get it across. Another reason is because when it does go to text message, it passes through several different cell carriers. And if it gets too long beyond that 600 character count, text messages might start getting broken up and reordered. And then parents who aren't using the app might get those messages out of order and get confused. So we don't want those messages to be too long. And a third reason is because translation is a big part of what we do. And when you start to write super long messages, with long sentences and things like that, we don't want to mess up the translation or anything like that. So that's why we have chosen to limit it to 600 characters. Now, what can you do about it? I have answers for that as well. And I also have a link to a fantastic blog post that we have written on our Talking Points blog. Let me pull that up. So we have kind of best practices for composing messages to families, and this blog post will actually also pop up if you, I'm putting this in the chat, if you start to write a message that is too wordy or using words that are well above a 6th grade level, say. But it gives you hints for how to write more concise and making sure that you are writing simple sentences, things like that, because we want to make sure that it will translate properly. We want to make sure that families who may not be fully literate in English or their preferred language are going to be able to understand the message. And we want to think about all these different barriers that may exist when we're composing these messages, because the point of using a universally designed tech-enabled family engagement tool is to make sure that anyone and everyone who receives the message is going to understand it as well as possible, whether they listen to it or they read it or what have you. So there's great tips in that blog post. You can star that one or bookmark it. And remember that if you are sending a newsletter, you can attach it as a document and just type in a sentence saying like, this week's newsletter is attached. Make sure you don't miss out. You can attach documents, photos, videos for some of those longer things. And you can always send a couple different messages if you do need to say something longer. And you can also decide, okay, the thing that I'm needing to send right now might be better for an email or might be better for an attachment than for the actual body of the message. So it really just is up to your discretion on what goes into that 600 characters in the message. So that was a lengthy answer, but I hope I covered what all you needed to know, Khadija, and I will share that answer with you on the community as well in case you weren't able to watch. And before, well, actually, I will share our weekly challenge with you now and then show you how to do it so that you can participate. So if you're new to Talking Points Ask Me Anything weekly, I always issue a challenge. And this week's challenge is to create a few templates in your Talking Points account that you think will be helpful for you throughout the year, and save those into your account so that maybe next week you can just click it. You don't have to type anything, send it along or schedule it out, and you've saved yourself time. You can go do some of the other stuff. You can go prep your classroom. You can go make copies, whatever it is you need time to do. So, because one of our favorite time-saving tools is our templates. So I'm going to one more time share my screen and show you how to save templates. So in your account, if you go to compose a new message, it could be an announcement or a direct message. I'm going to do announcements. You can see the messages the templates you already have down here. And there are some that are categorized that we've provided by attendance, logistics, positive messages, things like that. I'm just going to make a simple one. Hi, families. Don't forget homework folders are due tomorrow. And I'm going to save that as a template. All you have to click is save down at the bottom right corner. And it will allow you to save it into the folder. So this one feels like a logistics message. And that's a template I can schedule out for every Thursday if it's one that um, like I check homework folders every Friday or something like that. So I won't have to type that one ever again because I have it saved as a template. And I would absolutely love to see um, some of you sharing templates that you've made or messages you're really proud of, polls you've sent out on our Facebook community, our Talking Points online community. Having more of you interact with each other and help each other out on how you do family engagement, especially using Talking Points, because we are a community and we're all in this together starting a brand new school year. So if you have any additional questions, I'll be on for a couple more minutes. Thank you so much for joining. Once again, I'm Paige with Talking Points, and we are live on Facebook and YouTube every Thursday at 4:30 Central, 5:30 Eastern. Happy to talk about anything family engagement and answer all of your Talking Points questions. I'm going to get a sip of my water while I wait for any more questions. All right. If there are no more questions, I will say happy Friday tomorrow and have a wonderful start to your school year. I will see you next Thursday right here on YouTube and Facebook. And happy messaging. Bye, everybody.